While everybody was fixated on the election last week, the Indianapolis grand jury declined to press any charges on the Indianapolis police force in the fatal shooting of Drayshawn Sean Reed on May the 6th. Drayshawn was chased by police in a high-speed chase that was also on vehicle and foot, and filmed live on Facebook and streamed to thousands of people, including his fatal shooting. No charges will be filed. The case is closed. Another election is gone, and the beat moves on for America. What's up, everybody? It's Keithy, and you're watching The Weekly Ritual, Ghost Cult's new show on YouTube. Let's get started. We start this week's ritual with some sad news as we report the passing of Uriah Heep legend Ken Hensley, who died last week. Ken was a member of the band during the 70s, and he also wrote songs for Wasp and Cinderella and many other bands. Ken was a multi-instrumentalist and composer, and he was also working on a new book about his career, a memoir. I'm very sad to learn of Ken's passing, which was reported on his social media pages and commented on by current members of Uriah Heep as well. Rest in peace, Ken. In case you missed it, features at Ghost Cult. Kicking off our features this week is our interview with the Arson Choir right here on YouTube in the link below. The Arson Choir is an awesome mathcore band from Los Angeles, and we talked to them all about their composing process, how the band formulated, their keen eye on politics and current events and how that factors into their music, a lot of sci-fi nerd shit, and a whole lot more. We also talked to Joe Randazza of Eye of the Destroyer, the New Jersey death metal band's new EP is out now, The Wolf You Feed, and we talked to Joe all about his history in the band, his deep background in the New York and New Jersey hardcore and metal scenes, and a whole lot more. On the podcast front, we talked to the amazing Doro Pesch, the Metal Queen. We love Doro. We've talked to her many times over the years, and Doro's got a brand new record label and a brand new album out of rarities and unreleased live tracks. Killer stuff from Doro. We talked about her whole career, how she's coping with the lockdown, and the new Doro album she's working on for next year. We also spoke to Steve Riley of LA Guns. LA Guns' new album, Renegades, is out this Friday on Golden Robot Recordings. As you know, there's two versions of LA Guns. Don't get me started, but Steve is really super cool. We talked all about what happened and how this came about, how Steve has carried on the band with mostly old school members, and Steve's other interests outside of music. It's a really interesting chat, and if you're interested in that scene and LA in the 80s and 90s, you definitely want to listen to my chat with Steve. We also wrote a feature on Alice in Chains' self-titled album, which turned 25 years old this week. The incredible album, you may know it as the Tripod album or the Dog album, has the incredible songs on it, Grind, Heaven Beside You, Again, and many more, and actually was the final studio recording of Lane Staley. There were a few other tracks that he did with the band before he passed for their Music Bank box set a few years later. But it was a really interesting study in a crucial album for Alice in Chains, and still a hit despite struggles the band was going through. We want to send a big shout out to everybody over at Gimme Radio and Gimme Metal. Ghost Cult aired our Gimme Metal special last week with them, and it was super fun. I hung out in the chat, we tweeted live, and we're replaying our episode this weekend, Saturday, November 14th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and some other times, other places in the world. If you're up, check it out. And now, the News Rundown. We start this week's News Rundown with a story about Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson was giving an interview this week to Metal Hammer talking about his new album and other things going on in his world, and the reporter asked a question of him about the allegations that allude to sexual impropriety caused by Manson toward Evan Rachel Wood, his former girlfriend. Earlier this year, for some backstory, Evan Rachel Wood testified on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. in America about the Me Too movement and sexual assault and sex abuse and the aftermath of her experiences with these things. Here at Ghost Cult, we always believe all victims always. She did not name Manson by name. Manson was very offended by these questions and this line of questioning and immediately hung up. Props to Metal Hammer for asking the questions. A lot of respect there. Of course, it's their prerogative to ask these difficult questions. It's Manson's prerogative not to answer. Metal Hammer has not accused Manson of anything. Evan Rachel Wood has never named Manson in relation to these things, but the period of time she's discussing does overlap with their relationship. This story is ongoing. We'll continue to track it. Tune back in later on for more on this. Last week, we brought you the comeback of Gojira. This week, it's System of a Down. That's right, the band you never thought you'd hear new music from ever again is back with 2 new songs supporting their beloved home country of Armenia and surrounding nations that are war-torn and beleaguered right now with conflict. The band has raised $600,000 with these 2 new songs to protect the land and genocidal humanoids. And we're super excited they released these tracks on Bandcamp with exclusive merch that goes directly to the Armenia Fund to help their people. Super props for System of a Down for stepping up as always and leading the way for political protest and supporting marginalized people everywhere. For better or worse, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame held their induction ceremony last weekend virtually because they could not have their typical concert in usually New York or LA or Cleveland where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, and we saw the induction of many rock greats like Nine Inch Nails and Depeche Mode, as well as Whitney Houston and Biggie Smalls and several others. Interestingly enough, Nine Inch Nails in their induction broke a Hall of Fame record where Ian Rubin is now the youngest member ever to be inducted in the Hall of Fame at 29 years old. He's an amazing dude. He's got side project bands. He plays in a bunch of other bands like Angels and Airwaves, and we're super proud of those guys. Of course, we love Depeche Mode here, and of course, if you know Ghost Cult, you know we love Whitney Houston too. So congratulations to all the inductees. Maybe one of these years they'll get it right with an Iron Maiden or Judas Priest. Don't hold your breath. This weekend, Slipknot is going to host their Pulse of the Maggots live stream event on knotfest.com, their big information hub, and they are highlighting underground bands and really doing a great job at bringing underground entertainment. I know people would love to see Slipknot do a live stream. Obviously, the band is anyway on hiatus and kind of spread out through the country, but it's awesome that they're using their platform to support these young bands. Some of the bands include Hacktivist, October Ends, Cerebus, Orbit Culture, Tala, Demotional, Vended, Scarlet, Year of the Knife, Orgasm, not that Wargasm, the other Wargasm, Victims, Death Blooms, Death Tour, Thrown into Exile, Once Awake, 156 Silence, and I Revolt. Another Slipknot news this week, the band is reportedly beginning the writing process for their new record. We just got We Are Not Your Kind last year in 2019, but with the pandemic and Corey Taylor working on a solo project and Jim Root working on new Stone Sour music, it's a good time for the Slipknot guys to get back together and write some new jams. The mighty Geezer Butler of Black Sabbath made some news this week as he is reported that in his personal opinion, Black Sabbath will never play another show again. And this runs contrary to statements by Ozzy, Iommi, and Sharon Osbourne, who all have said they desire to play at least one-off concerts in the future with Black Sabbath, and they would never rule out a show one more time. The Geezer has said that door is closed as far as he's concerned. We've already had Black Sabbath without Bill Ward. I cannot imagine a Black Sabbath performance without Geezer Butler. Geezer also said that his band Deadland Ritual is probably done and kaput because they were supposed to be in the studio this year and put an album out, but due to the pandemic, they can't, and he's doubtful they're going to. Deadland Ritual also includes Matt Sorum of Guns N' Roses fame, and a few others. Geezer also reportedly hates the Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion song WAP, like every other guy of a certain age that doesn't listen to rap music or understand women's sexuality. News from the concert and touring world. Ticketmaster has announced that they may require COVID tests for fans to go to concerts in the future and take temperatures at the doors and entrances to shows. This is very interesting as we haven't heard yet any news about this at all, any policy or anything for the future of shows. We don't even know when shows can come back. Now, just recently we found out that Live Nation CEO Michael Rapino told board members and investors in a call on November 5th that he expects the concert and touring industry to return full force at scale summer 2021. We have no evidence of this. We don't have a vaccine yet, although we heard some good news from Pfizer this week that might benefit us. But it's interesting to keep track of the ever-changing landscape of the future of shows. We all want shows to come back so badly. So we really hope we get some next year, at the very least, by summer. Yelvik has shared a brand new video for their song Glory of Hell. Yelvik is the band fronted by Erlend Yelvik, who used to be the frontman of, I fucking forgot, Fellertak from Norway. And Erlend's new album is coming out, his self-titled album is coming out at the end of this month, and it's badass. Be on the lookout for an interview with him that we did here at Ghost Cult. Tribulation has rebooked their European tour for next summer. You know, the band has a new album coming out January 29th on Century Media Records, and we're super stoked for the progressive, blackish doom band to put out new stuff. They're always really spooky and interesting the way they compose, and they're one of the best live bands in the world. So we're super excited for this, and we can't wait for them to play new tour dates someday, eventually, next year, who knows. Speaking of postponements, Metallica has once again postponed their South American tour with Greta Van Fleet. We're super sad to see that happen, but the band is already postponed once at the end of this year for the tour that was supposed to take place, postponed again into the spring, and now it's not going to take place until a year from now at the end of 2021. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it can happen, as it was supposed to be the end of the Worldwide to Self-Destruct World Tour. This weekend will host their very first pay-per-view event ever. Their Helping Hands, All Within My Hands Foundation acoustic show and silent auction. And we're super excited. They have released custom merch this week, and they have a lot of cool items up for auction that are rare or one of a kind, and you can donate and help all the good causes that All Within My Hands helps. Karak Angren has shared a brand new music video for their title track of their recent album, Frankensteina Stratomontanus, Stankonia. I don't know what it means. It's about Frankenstein. Karak Angren's new album is all about the person that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein character was inspired by. Of course, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is the very first horror novel in the world. And Karak Angren's album is a symphonic blackened masterpiece. And this video is creepy as hell, even though it's right after Halloween. Supergroup Gone is Gone is back with a new album next month, and they just dropped a brand new single, their cover of Death of a Dream. The group includes many players, including Troy Van Leeuwen of A Perfect Circle, and another Troy Sanders of Mastodon. It's Supergroup Madness. Sludgy metal duo Zombie on Relapse Records released a short abbreviated version of their 2020 album, 2020, and that EP is streaming now on all services for you to check out. A little hors d'oeuvre of Zombie with an I music. Demon Hunter will be back this spring with a new unplugged record, Songs of Death and Resurrection. They follow their double twin LPs, War and Peace, which were released in 2019. One of our favorite bands to talk about here is Dark Tranquillity, and their new album Moment is coming out November 20th from Century Media Records. The band has just announced a live stream on the day after the album comes out, November 21st, where they're going to play all of Moment in one shot, and hopefully some fan favorites, as well as their greatest hits. I hope my favorite song, Misery's Crown, gets played. Years in the making, Zappa, the Frank Zappa documentary, is finally coming out this month, and a brand new trailer was released. Zappa was produced and directed by Alex Winter of Bill and Ted 3 fame. That's right, Alex Winter's a major Zappa fan, and he involved his family, who gave his permission. He interviewed Steve Vai, Mike Keneally, and many others. We're super excited for this candid, in-depth look at Frank Zappa's work and life. He is one of the most important artists of all time, and that is not an overstatement. This weekend, Adult Swim will have their online virtual Adult Swim Festival, and Deftones are a part of it. They're going to premiere a brand new remix track from their White Pony record for their upcoming Black Stallion remix album. And the rumor is it's going to be Mike Shinoda's remix of Passenger, which features Deftones and Maynard James Keenan of Tool. Progressive rock legends Transatlantic are coming back next year with their brand new album, The Absolute Universe, on Inside Out Music. So we're always excited for great progressive rock and progressive heavy music. Maybe it's not quite metal, but it's definitely music metal fans can appreciate. Pantera fans, tune in to Facebook this Friday the 13th, to check out Rex Brown, who's going to live stream and do an in-depth Q&A with the Facebook page all about the brand new version of Reinventing the Steel, which hit 20 years this year. There's a new vinyl version out, a remix and remaster on CD with demos and outtakes, and we're super interested to hear what Rex has to say. He's been pretty quiet as he works on his next solo record, due out next year. And Canadian hardcore band Fuck the Facts dropped a brand new single called An Ending from their upcoming album that I cannot pronounce at all, so we're going to put it up here on the screen. Thank you, screen. Thank you, producer. Fuck the Facts is awesome. If you're not sure or don't know them, not familiar, get acquainted. They rule, they're heavy and hardcore as hell, and always great lyrics and vocals. Check this band out. I shit you not. Unbelievable stuff you can't make up. Pop princess Doja Cat headlined MTV Europe's award show this week, virtually, and she did her song Say So as a hard rock heavy metal song. Crazy! She sampled Pliny's riffs, which he was very amused about and not too upset apparently, to do a heavy metal rendition of her song, and a lot of fans of metal and pop were confused and thrown off by this, but good for her. We've talked in the past about how some of these pop singers should sing more hard rock and heavy metal. Why not? Miley Cyrus is doing it, Lady Gaga's doing it, everybody's doing it. Let's do it. And now it's time for Who Rules It Streaming. Kicking off Who Rules It streaming in a very thrashy edition is Sepultura, who continue their Sepulquarta series. They welcomed in Rob from Death Angel to play Apes of God off of Roarback, a very underrated album from about 15 years ago. The album's killer. They also did a bunch of covers with that album, and obviously they hung out with Rob, who they know Death Angel have toured with the band for many years in the current version of Sepultura, and as always, it's a good time. All Drake, or Old Rake as he likes to be called on his social media, of Evile, has an awesome Twitch channel, and if you're a Twitch fan, you want to subscribe and check his stuff out. He does covers and playthroughs every week, and this week he covered Metallica's The Four Horsemen. It's an awesome playthrough. We're waiting on new music from Evile, and any time with All is a good time. The guy just rips on guitar. Anthrax chipped in this week for Who Rules It streaming with their own Gung Ho off of their Spreading Disease album, which turned 35 years young this week, and it still holds up. Gung Ho is one of the most underrated songs of the entire Anthrax repertoire, and it was really cool to see the band do this song that is rarely played live.
And now for a quick look at some of the music out this week for New Music Friday.
11/13, Accuser, self-titled Metal Blade Records. AC/DC, Power Up, Columbia Records. List of Flesh, Tyrant, Listenable Records. Blood from the Soul, DSM-5, Death Wish. Boris, Absolute Go, re-release, Third Man Records. Boris, Amplifier Worship, re-release, also Third Man Records. The Bronx Casket Company, The Complete Collection Box Set, Deco Recordings. Cold Noir, Jack of All Spades EP. Cognizant, self-titled re-release, Self-Made God Records. Dark Buddha Rising. Math Reata, Spart Records. Death Dealer, Conquered Land, Steel Cartel. Dismal, Quinta Essentia, self-released. Doro, Magic Diamonds, The Best of Rock, Ballads, and Rare Treasures, Rare Diamonds Records. Equilzia, De Equilse Universalis, RO Music. Ghost Kid, self-titled, Century Media. Go-Go Berlin, Life EP, Rodeo Star Napalm Records. Harlot, Detrius of the Final Age, Metal Blade Records. Hellsont, Woven re-release, M-Theory Records. Humanity is Cancer, self-titled EP, Redefining Darkness. Intervals, Circadian, self-released. Catatonian, Dead Air, Peaceful Records. King 810, AK Concerto No. 47, 11th Movement in G Major, self-released. LA Guns, Renegades, Golden Robot Records. Lizzie Borden, The Best of Lizzie Borden Volume 2, Metal Blade. Luna 13, God Dis, on COP International Records. Lunatic Soul, Through Shaded Woods on K-Scope. Macabre, Carnival of Killers on Nuclear Blast. Megaton Sword, Blood Hails Steel. Steel Hails Fire, Dying Victims Records. Mustard Gas and Roses. We Are One EP, Pax Eternum. Nuclear, Murder of Crows, Black Lodge Recordings. Of Feather and Bone, Sulfuric Disintegration, Profound Lore. Periphery, Live in London, 3 Dot Recordings. Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, We're the Bastards, Nuclear Blast Records. Polyphosius, Suitcase of Voices, Nefarious Recordings. Putrid Awful, Live in Hellfest 2017 on Xenocorp Records. Pyramaze, Epitaph on AFM Records. Scalp, Domestic Extremity, Creator Destructor. Silence Equals Death, Revolution Rising EP, Upstate Recordings. Soulburn, Noah's Ark, Century Media. Baller, Death Cult, Prophecy. Warfect, Spectre of Devastation, Napalm Records. Warrior Soul, Cocaine and Other Good Stuff, Livewire, Cargo Records. And Witch Rider, Electrical Storm, Fuzzerama Records.
And now for a look in our mailbag. This week for our mailbag, we've got Solemn Visions, recent EP. We even premiered their video for A Perch for Demons. The New York melodic death metal band does it right, and they're a fixture in our scene, and we're super proud of supporting them. So check the band out, give them a follow on Bandcamp, follow them on Spotify, stream those songs, check out the video on YouTube. We'll have it in the link below. You know what time it is. As we often say, it's a rough time in the world, so please, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as Lemmy would say, never let the bastards grind you down.